Welcome to Grapes and Debates, a podcast where we'll uncork some incredible wine and debate varietals of issues within the restaurant industry, one glass at a time. And now, your hosts and owners of SoNapa
No, I did
Grille.
stand-up comedy, and then I paid my way through university doing stand-up, and then I was doing it at the Malibu Club down in LA, and I thought the Jonathan Club in Malibu. I thought I was really funny, and then one day they came over to go, Nick, you're not that funny. We want you to introduce the comedians from now on. I said, I thought I was really funny. So when I was a head winemaker with Louis Vuitton, I got to meet all these auctioneers, right? So I went home all depressed, and I got this phone call from this auctioneer. He goes, Nick, are you available to do like a warm-up act? For a really cool auctioneer. We used to do the Sarasota Food and Wine Festival, and he was the auctioneer. We used to do Moët Chandon, like wetting everybody in their $2,000 suits and shit. Anyway, so I decided, I'm going to give it a go. So I went, and I realized I am funny because when they drink a pallet of wine,
Right.
and I'm the warm-up act,
Yeah.
and when they're there at an auction, they're there to have fun and drink wine and spend money. So now I do like 4 or 5 of these a year, just the auctions.
I love
It's a
it.
good way to sell wine.
I like
People think I'm funny.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, they're not just saying that.
believe it or not.
Joe's kind of funny. Joe, you're kind of
I've been on, the deeper I get into this lineup, the funnier I think I am.
yeah.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
agree.
That's the
Yeah.
important.
Hey, so what do we?
All right. So
Hey, let's get some wine into our glasses and then let's hear your story.
all right. Whose wine do you want?
That one looks good.
All right. Who's drinking? Everyone?
I'll try some.
Yeah,
I knew
everybody.
you would. Are you underage? Are you old? Almost. Matt, you probably never had my wine before. But,
I actually have not.
really?
What?
Well, I'm newer over to the wine. side.
Okay, all right.
Only for the first 7 years with Southern, so.
See what I'm dealing with?
I know. And you know what? They've never tried us on your wines. They just didn't bring it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
out now.
I mean, we've asked and asked and asked. Yeah.
We want that Goldschmidt wine.
Right.
Can you get it in?
Oh, you're funny.
Yeah.
Hilarious. All right, well, cheers. Thanks for hanging out.
Cheers, Nick. What's in the glass first?
Ooh,
It's a white wine.
I like
It
that.
is.
So, yeah, like my story is then I trained in New Zealand, went to Australia. So my first degree is in civil engineering, my second degree is in organics and biodynamics. My third degree is in viticulture, my fourth degree is in enology. I lived in Australia, worked at Yalumba, Penfolds. Also was a winemaker at Babbage for a while. Then I went to Chile. I came to California first in '89.
So you couldn't keep a job.
Yeah, unbelievably. And so I came to California briefly in '89. Then I was in Chile, and then I went to Costa Estanel, but I ended up coming back to see me in 1990. And at that time, we were owned by Louis Vuitton. And when I turned 27, they gave me this global job. And my boss, Zalma was my boss in California, but there was a guy called Guilain de Vogüé. And Guilain de Vogüé was chef de cave for Moët Chandon. And they put me in charge of blending for the world. So Cloudy Bay in New Zealand, Cape Mentel in Australia, Ruffino in Italy, Terraces in Argentina was the first winemaker, and Roses in Portugal. In 1999, we got sold to Constellation. So I was the head winemaker for Franciscan, Estancia, Blackstone, Ravenswood, and Quintessa. And then I left to the biggest company in the world, which was at the time Allo Domecq, Clos de Bois, William Hill, at its peak, Gary Farrell, Bonavista, Campo Viejo, Max D'Arenzo, Isios, Tarsos, Valeria, Brancott, Stanley. So at 150 wineries in 7 countries, I ran about 30 of them. That's where I met Melanie. And then one day they called me up and they go, Nick, we're selling the company. You got a choice, Pernod Ricard or Jim Beam, the French or the Americans. So I walked into the French, 2 guys wearing suits. I said, shit, man, who died?
Right.
So then I told my one French joke. Yeah, the British salute, the American salute, the French salute. The Aussie salute, right? Australia, the flies.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I ended up at Jim Beam. And then we got sold to Constellation and got my job back. So in 2008, I went out on my own. I'd already created Forefathers in 1998 when I was still at LVMH. And so in 2008, and so I have Goldschmidt Vineyards. I have Alpine Engineering. So I've got 5 patents and I've got 7 machines. I can shred DNA of yeast and bacteria. I can pollen. I can change the shape of the tannin molecule in bourbon and whiskey. I can working on a new polymer resin for extracting pyrazines and smoke taint, but also for the elk. And then I got some really basic machines like label removers and cap removers and stuff. And then I consult for 26 other wineries in 6 countries. So
you stay busy.
yeah, so mainly Chile, Argentina, Canada, and then a little bit in Barolo and Sancerre and Rioja. And then I have this sort of company where I work with small families and try and get them a route to market. So the 4 things that I do, I'm generational. So I work with generational growers. People have been growing grapes for a long time that are having a really hard time these days. I work with generational retailers and restaurateurs. And of course, my family is also involved. And so I usually stay away from some of the larger forms of outlet for my own brands. Secondly, all of my wines were natural, but God invented a thing called gravity. So we put our dirty wine in the tank or whatever, and we let the gravity work on it. We rack off, and we have nice, clean wines.
Okay.
I don't add any. Thirdly, I tied in with that. Sorry, no yeast, no acid, no water, no mega purple. Everything is one vineyard, one vintage, one variety, and they're all vegan. Thirdly, I know where all the dead bodies are in Napa Sonoma, so everything's of really good value. And then fourthly, even though my second degree's in organics, I think there's another way to look at organics. And I think organics in some respect is doing a disservice to what the industry is. I think that if you disc soil, as you do in an organic vineyard, you are completely changing the terroir. If you irrigate, you've eliminated terroir. So when you disc soil, you're releasing 80% of the carbon straight into the atmosphere. And when you disc, you're turning over 25 years of humus layer. And when you have no humus layer, and that's the organic layer. Right. That's the oxymoron about farming organically.
Right.
When you farm organically, you remove the weeds.
How deep is that layer? Like how much are they?
Doesn't matter.
over?
Usually about 3 or 4 inches.
Right.
And when you remove the organic layer, you're removing the ability for fungus and bacteria to break down nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, NPK, which is what the vine needs. So you spray it. And when you spray it on, you're compressing the soil. When you compress the soil, then you got to rip it. So, in Europe, I'm working at, I'm in those vineyards. I won't name who they are. But overnight, a weed appears. And they run out with their hoe and they go, in the meantime, at night, all the weeds are hanging out on the edge of the property going, dude, that property is so unbalanced. We're all moving in. And they're out there hoeing away and the weeds are coming in and hoeing away. They're not respecting what the planet is about.
Right.
And the planet is about balance. And for me, regenerative farming and working with the weeds and the native plants in the soil. In fact, I have a daughter-in-law that's really interesting, because she's making probiotics and prebiotic wines with non-alcoholic, not alcohol removal, but non-alcohol production, converting carbohydrate straight into lactic acid using homolactic bacteria, and then you infuse it with the weeds or the plants of the vineyard. And that is what the future could hold for an alternative beverage. And I'm really excited about working with her
that's
as well.
awesome.
So jumping into the wines, the first one is tied in with that. So this vineyard was planted in 1978. It's still on AXL1. So I don't know if you know, there's 2 forms of vitis, right? Vitis vinifera and Vitis labrusca, or labrusca, whatever you call it. So that's Blanduria, rupestris, and Riparia. And we thought that was the rootstock. And in the pre-1990, we go out and we collected these things called mass selections or field selections or mass sale. And so let's pretend you're a winemaker in the 60s and 70s. You walk in the vineyard and you go, you know what, this Chardonnay tastes different to this one, different to that one. This Chardonnay could be, this is warm fruit and cool fruit. And, this would be like pineapple, melon, passion fruit, stone fruit like peaches and etc. This would be pear, apple, citrus, guava.
Starting to get into the brighter
citrus,
fruits.
grassy, right? So we'd walk into the vineyard and we go, hey, you know what? These wines, these vines are like more pineapple-y and more muscatty. Let's just take the cuttings from those, right? So in the winter, you have to make a cutting. This is how I got into grapes back in the 80s, 81. I learned how to chip bud, right? So you take that cutting, 3 buds, you get your knife, you chip it, you take your rootstock, you make the tea, you peel back the bark, you slip the bud and tape it up and grow Chardonnay. All right, so you would go into the vineyard and you go, hey, you know what? These 3 vines are more pineapple-y than the rest, so we repropagated and these became pineapple-y squared, and we only made, and then, we had a name for that, and then we could reselect, and this became pineapple-y cubed, and it was more fun. So we had names for these things. So this would be like Spring Mountain, Rude, Sea, Wenty, whatever. And then we had Bardo, Calera, Mount Eden. So we had names for these mass selections, right? And then in 1990, we had phylloxera. And we found out that the rootstock we were using, AXL1, somebody had blended some Vitis vinifera into it. So when we took these selections and put them on top of AXL1, it's like going to an Italian wedding, right? You go there to pick up chicks, right? So these things were related, okay? And that's why they were compatible. But when we had to get rid of AXR and bring in the real Vitis labrasca, we put these things on top. Guess what? Stem pitting, corky bark, yields went down, and vineyards died. And so that's when we came up with cloning. You've heard of clones before, right?
Yeah.
The Vitis labrusca, and I'm probably butchering the name, that's indigenous to America, right?
Or China.
Or China.
That's clone 95.
Okay.
That's C. Clones were developed for tonnage and sugar.
Huh.
Dijon clones all taste like a goddamn white peach. So there's Dijon, and UC Davis clones taste like an apple and a pear. So today, all the Chardonnay's there.
Huh.
And that's why Chardonnay's boring. And that's why I don't want to make boring Chardonnay. So this comes from a vineyard that's still planted. It's on a gold-rich sandy loam, so it has very little organic matter, and the phylloxera cannot live in this. So it's a talcum powder soil, planted in 1978, and so it's old wine Chardonnay.
So where is this?
In the Russian River. It's on the same fence line as Les Pierre, sells for $50. On the west is Kistler Durrell,
Okay.
and to the north is Costa Brand and Gary Farrell.
Yep. I got to tell you, I like it.
It's drinking great right
This is
now.
a 2024, right? So we just released it. So so now let's talk about winemaking. This is vineyard.
Sure.
In winemaking, Zelma sends me to Burgundy. I'm in Chablis, I'm 27, and the winemaker goes to the tank and opens it. I go, dude, nice oak. What are you using? I'm in Chablis. He goes, get the shit out of my winery. All right. Now, when you make a mistake like that, I mean, the wine had no oak, right? When you make a mistake like that, you remember, and I remember exactly how that wine tasted.
Yeah.
Many years later, and I'm working with Chandon and Mum, and then I realized great Chardonnay, for me, is about autolysis. I don't believe in this Bantonage shit. I mean, that's all rubbish as well. So what I'm interested in, I'm going to give a second opinion on everything.
Yeah. No,
Everything I've ever learned.
I just listened.
I'm going to miss
Because I was just reading about that and how it just gets, and leaving on leaves for so long. And, and how it adds depth.
But it adds bitterness.
Okay.
When it adds bitterness. So what I'm interested in is that peanut butter to you guys, but for me it's more like a vanilla, dead yeast autolysis. I get that champagne character.
Yeah.
Right. The second thing is this thing about concrete tanks. So I make this wine in concrete, 80% concrete, a little bit of oak, just to top it up. So in 1982, when I was a winemaker at Babbage, we ran out of tanks. They were putting in a sewer line at the top of Babbage Road in Babbage Town on Babbage, whatever. So you know what a sewer pipe looks like, right? It's about this round, it's about this tall. I called the city up, $50 each. They dropped them in a road. I bought 16 of them. I dug 4 holes. I put 4 pipes in each one, concrete the bottom, and waxed the middle. So now I've got a tank, a concrete tank, cooled by the dirt. And today, I get told I have to make wine in an egg, in a conical, in a box. And I've got a clue for you guys. Wine's a liquid. It doesn't bloody know.
Right.
It doesn't know. What the hell? Don't sell me this shit. I can make it in a sewer pipe. And it's cheaper and better. And you want calcium carbonate? I'll put the bloody salt in there for you. I mean, come on, give me a clue. Anyway.
So the concrete tanks that this is aged in are your tanks that you made out of sewer pipes.
No, these ones are not sewer
Oh,
pipes.
okay.
When I build my own
Okay.
winery, I'm going to use sewer
Okay.
pipes. And everyone's like, no, Nick, you'll flood the market. I know, it's cheap, man.
I love it.
Anyway, so we make wine, especially in Argentina. I work in a winery that's 100% concrete.
Okay.
And it sells, and it has that.
What's the advantages of concrete?
What's the advantages of oak?
Well, in some people's opinion, it imparts a flavor profile or
smoke.
body or
It's smoke.
yeah.
We all want smoke, right?
Well,
Smoke and
in
oak.
some people,
I think it's cool. I think
Right.
oak is cool. I think concrete is cool. I think stainless is cool. And each one of them imparts its own personality. And
and you use a touch of oak in this. You
yes,
said, right?
I do.
There's a touch.
Because I want to, part of it is the story. It has a little bit of the texture element, but I only use French oak. I don't use American oak. But I just want to have a touch of that softness that oak can bring, whereas concrete keeps it, first time they sent me to...
Just lean and racy.
Yeah,
concrete.
kind of. It does, but this doesn't show that, because what I get in this wine is a lot of autolysis. I get a lot of warm fruit elements, a lot of vanilla. I get the, because this is the seed selection that you're tasting, so I get a lot of the melon and passion fruit. And then when you drink it, I get this sort of, we talk about a structural wine being like this, right? Structure, texture. The things that make a wine structure are acid, temperature, CO2, and wood. They make a wine like that. And then a wine that has texture, these things are like pH, alcohol, fruit, sugar, and malolactic are trying to make the wines fat. So what I want to have here is something in between. And I remember that I learned a lot during COVID. And it harked me back to this first time I ever went to Portugal, making wine for roses. And I don't know if you know this, but all the Portuguese guys are really skinny because the food is hard to eat, right? So you have these barnacles, you need 2 of them, and it's 120 degrees and you're drinking port, 3 ports for breakfast, 3 for lunch, and 3 for dinner. You're eating a barnacle. And I'm like, dude. And this guy's Manuel Lozada, a very famous guy. He's the president of Almaviva now. But I said to him, hey man, I need a glass of white wine. Nick, we don't make white wine in Portugal. The lady in the restaurant's walking by and she goes, I'll get you a glass. Fills it up to there like my mother, right? Condensation's pouring over. It's 120 degrees and 8 barnacles. I chug this one. I go, where's the enamel on my teeth? The roof of my mouth is gone. Like, what the hell was that? I didn't know what a Vino Verde was. But that sensation, right? Then you go, man, am I hungry or thirsty? And that's what we got to get into wine. And during COVID, I witnessed this happen. We didn't know how long COVID was going to last. But in the first month, I mandated, this is what we're going to drink. But after the month, my kids are like, Dad, just bring the wines that we're going to drink. And I realized that they all gravitated to, with the protein course, they always gravitated to minerality, right? Unbeknownst to them. And so with that was where they were drinking the Alexander Valley, because you got better acidity, more tension, more electric. And then the Napa Valley, we always drank with the cheese and crackers at the end of the evening, because you got fat and salt. And that's when finally the British have actually done something to this wine world, and that is create port. So port goes with fat and salt. You're in the business of selling food. Hopefully also in the business of selling wine. If you drink a big, heavy, name brand, that is a meal in itself. I'm not hungry anymore.
Right.
How are you going to sell a second dish if you just sold them one of those?
Right. The American diet.
Wrong. No, because when they travel, wine people travel. And when you travel, you eat, I go to Vienna. I don't like Grüne Veltlingen. I'm sitting on the Danube. I'm eating at a great restaurant. I order schnitzel. I order the Gruner. Wow. Incredible, Same thing, tension, brightness, hungry, thirsty. It goes perfectly with the food. That I come home and I order that same bottle of wine at Bottle Barn over in SoNapa. Tastes like shit.
Right.
It's all about the location and you. This is your restaurant. This is your personality, and it's you and your staff. You're the ones that are exposing people to new wines. Why? When I go to a restaurant, and I learned, I'm not going to tell you the story because it was upfront about a brand that we all know. When I go to a restaurant, I order something I can't pronounce, and I buy a wine I've never had before. If I go to When I go home, I can drink that.
Right.
Why? What? I'm coming out for an experience.
Well, there's some people that just, I know what I like. I'm getting the same one every single time, and I'm not going to drink anything else. That's my favorite. And yeah, I'm like you. I search for a name maybe I don't recognize, maybe an area that I recognize, Alexander Valley, Russian River Valley, but maybe it's a vintner that I don't know. Well, let's see.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I feel strongly and passionate about that.
Yeah.
That, I don't own a restaurant, so it's easy for me to say this.
Yeah.
But I think the restaurant experience is like the most meaningful and greatest opportunity to try things without risk. I mean, you got wines by the glass, you can try anything you want. Why order something that you can get at 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
And 2 of those wines there I can buy at 7-Eleven in Healdsburg.
Well, in Healdsburg.
Well, in Healdsburg.
Not
our 7-Eleven, you can't.
Oh,
You mentioned that.
Where's a 7-Eleven in Healdsburg? There's not a 7-Eleven.
There might be.
There is not a 7-Eleven in
might be.
Healdsburg.
we got 6 Michelins, and they just happen to be there as well.
You said the some of those wines we're looking at, you're full after drinking them. This one, I had a glass and it makes me want food. I know.
drunk it
I
already.
did. I did.
I've had 3. I've had 3 of them.
So this one,
36.
sometimes it's the wine dictates the food, but I think on the other hand, sometimes the food dictates the wine. And depending on the food I get, I may go get one of those bottles to complement it. So it depends on kind of which way you're attacking it.
Absolutely.
In my
and
opinion.
I think
You know, with that, Joe, let's get into it.
awesome.
Is there a red we could get into now?
Yeah, let's get something on the road.
Come on.
Yeah, please. I want to be the.
Take a Joe with me.
I want to carry the flying winemaker's luggage.
All right, so the year is 2000. I'm telling my kids how to make wine without electricity because when I lived in Chile
How many kids?
with my current wife,
Sure. I didn't get that in my bio.
these are my 5 kids: physicist, genomist, engineer, vet, and chemist.
Wow.
Nice.
None of them can spell, but I'm married to a crazy lawyer, and thank God we have kids.
Is that
so
Yolin?
yeah,
Is that how you pronounce it?
yeah.
Okay.
Look at you, Joe. I mean, he did his homework.
Yeah.
That's serious, mate.
And I was afraid I was going to butcher it. He's warming up to me. He's warming up to me.
You're hilarious. Man, you can carry. I'll carry your bags.
Oh shit. Okay. I heard that.
All right,
Is
so
this thing on?
and two. So when I lived in Chile, Pinochet was in power, right? So he would cut off oil, power, water, keep the peasants under control. And so making wine without electricity was really difficult. So in 2000, I made them come out. We picked half a ton of grape, handy stem, picage, punch down, basket press, and we made one barrel of wine called 5 Gold Hands Unplugged.
Oh,
And
the 5 Gold.
and here's a photo of the first barrel.
Oh,
And
Look at that.
every
Look at
year,
that ginger.
and every year he can never estimate how full the barrel is, so it always overflows on him. So that's pretty funny. And that was my son basket pressing that very first.
Wow.
Anyway, so 2001, Chelsea said, "Dad, I'd really like to make wine with you." Okay, so we know as a father, I don't know, I didn't ask if you guys have kids, but
You do.
daughters don't talk to their fathers between 13 and 20, right?
I'm there right now. I am there right now.
So yeah.
I'm aware that she lives with us, but I don't. But that's about all.
So when Chelsea said, "I want to make wine with you," I'm like, "Dude, I'm in," because she's going to have to talk to me.
Right.
So when she was 2, I traced her around the head. She coloured it in. That's where the label comes from.
Oh, that's great.
And we wanted to make Merlot with her because we lived on a Merlot vineyard, and we drank a lot of Pommel as kids. And so we make this wine, and this is the 23 or the 22? This is a 22.
You said the 22. I listen to a lot of sports talk, and I listen to these legendary football coaches that remember a year or a season and can remember, multiple plays or what happened that season or that interception that got thrown at a certain time. Do you look back on vintages like that and kind of can remember the good, the bad, the ugly, certain, walking down a row and what made that year special?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The funny thing is, it came up last night actually about, I can't remember the year of the birth of my children,
Right.
but I can tell you every vintage intimately since 1982.
Right. Right.
And I can do that for New Zealand, Australia, Chile, and California.
Yeah.
So then when I think of vintages, I don't think of, it's very complicated. This is the way my brain works. But when I worked with Michel Rolland for 12 years, he taught me two things. He taught me how to be a consultant, and he taught me how to taste. And he taught me there's only 5 wines in the world.
Okay.
Okay, 5 wines. He probably forgot he told me this.
Not according to the book I just bought.
Well, there are in our classification.
But there's only 5 wines. This is your tongue.
Okay.
These are the elegant wines, soft berry fruit wines right up on front. These are the powerful wines. These are the dense wines. The other 2 are simple and green.
Okay.
So, on top of this, to answer your question, on top of this, when I think of a vintage, I think of, is that vintage going to push me more in the elegant way, the powerful way, or the dense way? Because that, depending on how hot, cool, wet, whatever. And I have a vintage chart where I rank vintages based on.
Do you know which way you're being pushed before
Yes,
harvest?
I do, because the first thing I look at is the day of flowering.
Okay.
So these are elegant vintages, powerful vintages, and shitty vintages. And so this is how I rank vintages in California.
Okay.
So that's the way I think about it. But what he taught me was during the year, okay, so we sit down in June and July, and wrong hemisphere. February, March. And we put all the wines into families, all the elegant wines, powerful wines, and dense wines, and now make a blend of the best elegant, a blend of the best power, the best dense. And then I have 3 wines and make a blend. It was much quicker. I mean, originally when I blended, the first vintage I ever blended on my own was 86 at Semi, and it took me like 2 months to make the blend. When was the last time you had a good New Zealand Cabernet? Well, that would be never. So I got thrown in the deep end. That's why I worked with Michel, and he taught me a lot. So being the engineer I am, I then go back, well, this is all really cool, but where does this come from? So then I looked at, the vineyard as a whole, and now I'm looking at, now I work in a block, right? So the reason why we work in California, New Zealand, Chile, Argentina, Canada, is because of earthquakes. And so if you look at a block or a vineyard, you'll get a different soil that'll run through the vineyard. The rows are running this way. And so you'll have a different soil because we never planted vineyards based on soil at the time. We based it on property line.
Yeah.
So I walk into the vineyard and I go, hey, you know what? This has got a shorter canopy and too much crop, right? So I have to drop the crop to come in balance with the vineyard. So this becomes the elegant wine, which I'll explain in a minute. And this is the powerful wine. And then the dense wine generally has a big canopy, which means it ripens faster. And this was the hardest thing for me to understand, was the dense component, because these things ripen really quickly, right? So when something ripens, this is acidity, this is veraison, this is flowering, and this is harvest. Brix does that. Flavor does that. And tannins go green, dusty, dry, ripe. 100 days in Bordeaux. Okay.
And the secret is to find that spot.
Correct. And in a dense vineyard, when you have a lot of canopy, the sugar goes up much faster, right? Mm-hmm. So the sugar goes up faster, which is a lot like what global warming today is doing, because today we go 21, 23, 25, 27. We don't stop. And so global change is having an impact. So what do? How do I compensate for a big canopy or hot? And so what we do, there are 5 rules in viticulture. And when I walk into a vineyard to consult for the first time, I look at my watch. Mm-hmm. Because first rule, north, south, east, west. In the northern hemisphere, you want to plant north, west, 15 degrees. In the southern hemisphere, you plant this way. Second rule, 15 buds per meter. All right, this is a meter, 3 feet, 15 buds. Second rule, you got 2 clusters per shoot, and everyone says, well, I drop crop. Well, you don't need to drop crop if you farm correctly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Thirdly, and this is the complicated piece, is 13 leaves per shoot, which I'm going to explain. Fourth is the 7th internode. I got to 5 because of that's number 5. Right. So if this is a vine, and you grow your shoot. So the first 2 positions are non-count positions. These are really important though, because when you tip, these guys produce laterals, and these are the guys that absorb smoke. Right? Then you got the next position here, which is the cluster with a wing. 4th position is a cluster, no wing. And then you have 13 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Why? Because in the US, our posts are 2.2 meter tall. On the 7th position, it needs to be smaller than your fist, that internode. If it's bigger than your fist, you got too much water, too much vigor. And if it's smaller than your fist, you got too much stress. If you get all these things in balance, you can pick earlier and you can make more elegant wine.
You got all that?
I got all that.
Is global warming causing the grapes to ripen too fast?
Let me put it this way.
Or can you control it with the canopy?
Yes, some control it with the canopy. But here's an interesting statement, and it really hasn't hit California yet. It's just starting to show up. But certainly in Chile and Argentina, we've got this problem already. Whereas if you remember the west face, afternoon sun is always the hot, and everyone used to panic about raisins, right? Guess what? Now we're worried about the morning side.
Wow.
Because the grapes now are so cold at night. They're much colder at night because of global warming. A difference between day-night time temperatures become higher. When that UV hits that cluster in the morning, it's called Pato Negro.
Pato Negro?
Pato Negro looks like this, and this is the morning side. So when I show a photo, people go, oh, that's the afternoon side. I'm like, no, stop, man. This is the afternoon side. And it's a really interesting phenomenon about how we are going to protect our vineyards from the morning side, and that's why you need to do this these 5 rules a lot more clearly. And so the berries are dying from the bottom up. So this is the morning side of the vine. In the old days, that used to be afternoon side of the vine.
Right. So
this is where?
This in Chile.
So the farming is
And you're saying this is
evolving.
now finding its way.
It's all over the world. It's in Canada now. But it's not a disease.
No, it's just
symptom
a
of ultraviolet.
sure.
Yeah.
And I see it in my own vineyard too. On my steep hillsides, I can see now the effect of the morning sun on my clusters.
So what hillsides are you on?
We get to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this was
drinking
beautiful.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where in Alexander Valley?
So if you're in Geyserville, Mid Valley, so Alexander Valley, there's a Nick Goldschmidt map. Geyserville, Healdsburg, Knights Valley, Cloverdale. So you're in Geyserville, you head over the river, and it's right here.
Okay.
It's next to Fray Corona and Lancaster.
We know them well.
Yeah, I can see them from here.
Yeah.
They take good care of us.
They do.
Oh, that's right. I'm Southern, that's right.
So is Foley. In fact, Cassandra's been out to California with us.
They have more money than me. I'm just a humble little guy. You want to see my kids again?
Yeah.
So
This, by the way, we have our own rating system, and I got to tell you, both of these are ranked TS.
Yeah. The shit.
what happened to the
shit.
F bit?
What's that?
What happened to the F bit?
Expert?
No, the F, the
F?
one at the top.
We haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Well, I'm going to cut the
TFS.
tasting now. If I don't get an F,
No, you got the shit.
I know. I want the next one.
Well, we got to try the rest. But
What's the problem?
For a Merlot,
Merlot.
I've never had a better Merlot.
There you go. Should be an F in there then.
Hey, you know what?
As firm or low, that's the fucking shit.
It is. But you know what?
My mother does not like me.
You guys as well.
My mother does not like me cursing on these things. So I've got a TFS is what I call it. She doesn't like it.
You found your mother?
She doesn't like it.
All right. Let's see what we got.
So you were, while you're opening this, you were drawing a picture of a single block in a vineyard, and then you kind of cut that into triangles. Do you vinify those separately
Yes.
and then blend at the end?
Exactly.
Damn it, Joe.
So
These questions come from.
Joe, you
I can listen to this guy all day.
your videos,